Let me check with the people. Um, oh, I just saw your missed call. Okay. Okay. We are live. People say we are live. So,
how do we see the people? Where are the people?
on the chats on the side, I'm also, like,
Oh gosh, this is two aunties who don't know this technology thing, pretending to
I'm
know the
laughing.
technology thing.
I'm laughing at you because you want a live situation in a virtual setup.
I know I'm not too sure what this COVID thing is
Where
doing.
are the people? They're at home, girl.
Where are the people? At least on Instagram Live, you see them, but I guess you're also on Instagram Live here. So
They're on the side. I mean, if you are here, if you are live, do say hi in the comments.
these
Greet
two.
us so that we know we are not talking to ourselves, although you and I don't mind having chats by ourselves. Um, shall we give it 2 minutes and then
Yeah,
we just go into it?
yeah. I have some questions for you. I'm excited.
Amazing.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking champagne. What are you drinking?
Okay, I made myself a little G&T, right now.
Oh, look at you. Fancy and stuff.
I mean, we grown, grown individuals.
Oh, of course. There's a dog there.
Not my dog.
Whose dog is it?
First of all, they have like 4 dogs here, so one more, but usually they're quiet, so they're quiet again. Oh, they're
How's it been?
people.
Hey?
Sorry, what did you say?
Oh, what did you say? Where are the
No,
people?
no, I'm saying I see the people. The people are.
Where?
Abo, you see the live. I'll go on the live part. It says it says 24. I think that means eyes, and the eyes are people.
Where do you see that? Oh, there. You are so smart. You are smarter than me. Okay.
Like right over your forehead for me. I don't
So
know.
I'm gonna play this video and then I think you and I can get into chats, yeah?
Yes.
Well, we tried that.
I
Strange.
was like, did it not working? It was me. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to, if it was working.
I literally have someone on the phone going, it's not working, it is working. Um, but anyway, that was a technical issue. Let's get into chatting. I mean, we're not necessarily here. If people want, they can see the trailers and the videos on my pages. But I think the most important thing is for us to chat and celebrate
I
the
know.
release of things. Yeah, let's do
I'm
it.
so excited. I feel like
Ah,
listening to it just touched my whole soul all over again. Koleka, you're a giant. Like you're a storytelling giant. Um, and it meant so much to me to listen to all of that. I was like, this is it. And you know, with your anyway, I'll get right into the questions. But my first question would be, how are you feeling? You know, like
I'm
in the
feeling
moment.
I'm feeling so nervous. Like, I think this is the most nervous I have ever been about something that I've released. Or the most, like last night I could not sleep. And then when you were like, oh, I'm going to spend the day when I sent you the thing, and you were like, oh, I'm going to spend the day listening to the thing, I was like, like, and I think I'm nervous because in a way, when people like read your book, right, they can kind of read your poetry or read your novel or read your
Mhm.
story and make up their own images or their own voices in their own heads, or at least that's how I read books. I hear my own things, I see my own people, but then as soon as you like hear someone's voice, that's a different kind of situation. And for me, it felt akin to listening to music. I had a moment when we wrapped recording where I was like, oh, this is what we do when we listen to music. I'm gonna be in people's ears. That's so weird. Like, that's strange. So I feel nervous. Like, that makes me nervous, and I don't know why.
I mean, I was just gonna say, like with my own audio work, hearing my own voice was weird. Like, wasn't that experience a bit strange for you? But then that was one of the questions I was going to ask. And then with theater background, there's a bit more than just a little bit more than just you reading out your poems. You know, there's moments where you whisper and where you go high, where you go low, and then where for me as being a foreigner actually reading your work, and I didn't do any of the clicking sounds. Of course, I didn't know that the clicking sounds were there. But when you read out words how they were intended, it was really moving. But anyway, as someone who writes about inheritance fondly and sometimes not so fondly, how do you feel about passing this on, like your voice living in the ether forever? You know, this being part of whoever comes after you's inheritance. How do you feel about something as intimate as your voice being out there for so long? I don't know.
Oh, very strange. I mean, like, um, I just a thought just came into my head. So the thing that you said about like the theater making, what was so profound about the process of making this, and I don't want to call it an audiobook, but that's the association that I think people will make with it, because an audiobook, one of the things that I said in one of our first meetings with our collaborators is that I do not fucking want chimes. You know, like when you listen to an audiobook and then you turn the page and it's like ding, and then it's got like the turning page sound. I did not want that shit. That shit is valid if that's your vibe, but I did not want that. So I was fortunate enough to find a company, an interdisciplinary company called Paper Cranes, who just got the vibe and who also just make incredible work, and we were able to kind of brainstorm an audiobook that could become an experience. So we were able to dream up something that could have a string quartet and vocalists and have a process where I could get in before we would go into the booth and record. One of the founders of the company, we went to theater school together, actually, Boleng Stewart, and she dramaturged the fuck out of that process. Like literally, we would do vocal warm-ups. We would do physical exercises. We would get into our bodies. She would make me do visual exercising things and to get into the storytelling aspect of it so that it wasn't this thing of reading in your sexy voice, like we have come to be baptized here. It's like, no, what is the meaning you are saying with this particular poem? So, and with 51 poems, like 51 poems is a lot, like as poets, you know how it is. Like we get 20-minute sets, and in those 20 minutes, you probably read about what, 15, 10 poems, and that's a
my
lot.
poems are short compared to yours. I could read like freaking 30 poems in that.
Yeah, you do. I've seen you. But still, like 30 poems, but also your poems are like micro, and at times they're like maybe, wait, you can't see that. Maybe they're this big, But 51 poems and going into them deeply and diving into the storytelling aspect of it and the meaning and what story you're trying to tell, going back to why you wrote them was an interesting process. And I think that's what translates into the audio experience now is like that deep process of storytelling.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely, when you had sent me the information before and the poster, and I'm like, before I actually got into
Hey.
listening, I was like, yes. I said, oh wow, that's a hip kind of cut off.
Oh, I said, whoa, that's what's an experience?
Cues about what is an audio experience. But then when I listened to it, I whispering, and there were children's voices in the background in one of them. I was like, this is a filling experience. And to No Easter Sunday for Gays, I wanted to cry. How is it? I was in a cafe and just thinking, this is really, really beautiful. It's dynamic. It's so unheard of. It making that particular poem into audio version because I've seen the play. And
yeah, I mean, also, like
how
that's
was
the
that
longest
particular
poem.
experience?
Okay, so two things. That's the longest poem in the book, one, but that's also the poem that I get questions about the most because the way that it's written or the way that you see it on the page, the format of it is, it's just, it experiments with a lot, So whenever I'm at a show or whenever I'm performing something, people kind of ask like, so how do you want people to read, Easter Sunday for Queers? And so you have kind of frozen. I think maybe we should disclaim here where we're at so people have an understanding of what our challenges are. Okay, so Upile is in a vacation in Cape Town, somewhere nice. I'm in Santalina Bay, somewhere nice. You can hear me now? You back?
I can hear you. I can hear you just fine. Can we play the other video for a moment?
Sure.
Actually, just hammering at 6:45.
So they have a little bit of a context as to why our connections are so. Okay, I'm gonna play the other videos along while Upile figures out her connection.
But see, this is living in this age. Is it working?
Are you back?
I'm back, and in this internet age, in this COVID times,
You know what? You know what I've learned?
mm-hmm.
Like from doing online festivals and just doing online things in the last couple of months is how gracious people are and how patient people are. And that's been nice because, I mean, we all thrust into this virtual space. And for a lot of us, it's something that we've never had to navigate. And so I find that people are just generally patient, generally gracious, and that's been nice. There's no pressure to be perfect. There's no pressure to be a web guru, because shit, I'm not a web.
I mean, we're doing the very best that we can. Like, I didn't know
Oh,
what this
absolutely.
service was until today. But my thing was, I was actually going to ask you, what is poetry making
What is poetry?
like during a pandemic? What is poetry making you? Just like an aside from your audience, is that still, now that we are in this difficult, complicated time, and you're a storyteller and I'm a storyteller, and sure, you would have loved to share this audio experience live in front of a whole audience. Yeah, just how has this pandemic changed how you approach storytelling?
That's so interesting. Like, poetry is such an intimate uh, experience, right? Like, I feel like for me, anyways, it always has been like an intimate experience. And I feel like once all of the glamorous or the like hypey stuff got stripped away, so like the audience, the microphone, the liveness of it, once all of that got stripped away, in a way, I feel like I was forced to kind of go back to the essence of what poetry is for me, or what connecting with people through poetry is for me. Um, and being instrumental, or like being instrumental, being experimental with the ways that I share poetry with people has been a big one since the pandemic. Hey, you've kind of frozen. I'm gonna check with Upile. I don't know if it's me, if it's her. I might just break out into poetry while I wait to see where the issue is. Anyway, if you are at home, drop questions and try to answer them. Hey, you were frozen there for like a long time.
Trying my
Oh, now you're in a different location.
was like, maybe it's the inside just doesn't like us today.
Yeah, it's okay. Here's the thing though. We are both on holiday in faraway places where we're not meant to be doing live things. The universe is trolling us, actually. The universe is like, so the two of you went away and then you expected to do a live in a place where you're not meant to have connection. What was your plan? Right?
You know what? It makes absolutely no sense because we were all so excited to come here, and we're like, yes, Wi-Fi will be great. You'll be out in the hills, and you're like, first of all, to be out in these mountains, Wi-Fi is not a thing. It doesn't connect, you know. It doesn't
Right.
connect. But yeah,
Yeah. But I was saying that, like it's the pandemic, not having a live audience, not being live has kind of forced me personally to go back to the essence of what poetry is,
yeah,
or how it's supposed to be shared. And for me, that's kind of been like I've gone back to the intimacy of poetry, like
yeah,
in its distilled form. Like if I was sharing poetry one on one, where I did not, have the snaps and the woo and the,
that's
the hype of the audience. Like, what is it? Like, what do you want to say? And that's been nice to go back to that core of what poetry is.
well, look at you taking it in strides because I'm not happy with the situation at
Oh
all.
yeah,
I did a reading on Zoom, and of course everyone turns off their mics on Zoom, and so you're like, who am I reading to? and then you see in the comments. But I mean, we all have to make our adjustments. So I think we've been at it for a while. Do you want to take some questions, or
I.
while the network is good? Because
Actually cannot see. It's just mostly comments.
oh, I can't even see comments, questions. I don't know what is going on.
Oh,
Anyway, people
you
can
know
ask your
what?
questions while I grab my gin. Ask some questions.
Yeah. So you have not been enjoying this virtual situation?
No, absolutely not. But what I was going to say about the fact that this um, is an audio experience, it also transcends just the written word experience in that it's more accessible in a sense to people. And I think when I was making my audio works as well, I thought about that. I was like, you don't have to sit down um, and read my work somewhere. You can just do it and you can take it along with your day. And I've been told, like, oh, in the car, how does it feel for you to be in people's homes in that way? So you wrote something intimately, and now your voice was what wakes people up or what keeps people going throughout the day. About what it. I, and
Oh man.
another question too, just attaching it to that.
Um,
How
yeah.
does it feel to have your voice in people's homes? And
Mm-hmm.
the question would be, so I've read your work, I've heard you perform, I've heard you in front of crowds and intimately. And for me, I guess perhaps you had kind of mentioned it earlier, how you had to have voice coaching and so forth. For me, it was a different voice than the voice that I'd heard you. Like, it's not how I expected to hear you. All all the while it was exciting and it was beautiful and I loved it completely. It just it was like, anyway, did you have uh, a certain mindset when you went in to change your voice in a certain way, or was that all just raw?
I think it's the process that we took, right? So, okay, so for me, I have a ongoing process with my voice in performance, right? So I, whenever I perform, I've always tried to be intentional about the switching voice, right? So like where I grew up or how I grew up, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
because of where I grew up, I had a particular accent.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went to university, I had to, or not I had to, but I worked really hard at like changing that accent.
Mm-hmm.
And the training that we went through kind of encouraged us to use our speaking voices that you kind of use with your friends at the cafeteria, right?
Mm-hmm.
To do Shakespeare and not necessarily feel like you have to break out into a British accent, right? To do Shakespeare. That you
Yeah.
can do Shakespeare in the voice that you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that it's and that you acting Shakespeare or any kind of heightened or Euripides or whatever kind of heightened text um or dramatic text is valid in your own voice, right? And the
Yeah.
thing that I struggled with, particularly when I was studying, and the thing that I still experience today when I see other poets perform, and even when I perform, is the code switching that happens, right? That you think poetry is valid in a particular voice, or that you feel like you can win a slam in a particular voice, or that you feel like people will only receive you or receive your work in a particular voice. And for me, um the process of doing these poems in the like the experience of hearing my voice in the way that you say that you have was not necessarily about changing the voice or um it was more about the storytelling aspect of it. Still, honoring the voice that I have, but not slipping into, if I were to say, hey, would you like some coffee? I think you are. I'm gonna wait for you again. Um. Anyway, oh hey,
You were frozen on my end. I was like, where's
really? Anyway, I think.
are there
Um.
questions that we should be
Yes. Okay. So, from Abongile, what's your favorite poetry piece? Ooh, this was interesting. There were poems that I did
mm-hmm.
not like
Yeah.
when I published the book, and then I liked them through making the audio experience. Funny
Mm-hmm.
enough, Promised Land was a poem that a lot of people asked for. I was like, I don't perform that poem anymore. I don't like it. But then when we made the audio experience, I was like, cool.
Yeah.
I think
Was it like
Promised Land is
reading a
good.
new book for you? Because I get that, like after dropping my work for a while and I come and pick it up again, I'm like, who wrote that? Or like, that was deep. Like you were onto something. I think that's also one of the experiences I had hearing your work. Like I had read it in a certain voice, and then hearing you read it in the voice it was intended was it was different. It was a whole different experience, whole different book. Thrilling, exciting, scary, emotional. Yeah, and your storytelling really did work out because I could see you and the cousins on the big mattress. Like I could see the toughies and the like all those different. Like there was something about hearing you say it. Um,
And I'm
like. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm glad like I did it 3.5 years later, um,
Mm-hmm.
so that people could have a chance to read it in their own voice and have their own images,
Mm-hmm.
and that I could come back to it not as raw or as close to the stories as I was when I published it. Um, so Brenda is asking, how do you ensure the nuances in your original work remain intact and not get lost in translation to other languages? Oh my God.
Wait, are you going to have audio experiences in other languages of these poems, by the way? I'm just curious. Your book is in like 19 other languages. We know you.
But
We
babes,
know
who's
you.
gonna read these? Who?
I'm sure there are great slam poets and so forth out there. Because I think everyone should get to
Babes,
experience it audioly.
maybe in a few years, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe. If someone says, "Hey, I'd like to do the audio experience in Swedish," I'd be like, "Cool, let me."
Oh, bruh, you can learn Swedish for it.
Where?
Yourself. Yourself.
Where?
But this is, I mean, I've lived in South Africa for 2 years and I haven't heard anybody else's audio book or audio experience. Is this a new
Me
thing?
too.
I don't know. Like,
Me too. This was weird. Like, we did not have, or maybe this is also my own ignorance. Maybe I have
mm-hmm.
not dug deep enough.
Yeah.
There are EPs though. There are
Mm-hmm.
a couple of poets who have released EPs,
Mm-hmm.
albums,
Mm-hmm.
of their poetry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. Yeah, we were trying to find some like peer references of
Mm-hmm.
this kind of thing that we're wanting to do, and
Mm-hmm.
not really finding like quite the thing. And
Yeah.
then just kind of going, okay, let's just make the thing, and we'll draw from different things, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Anyways, Collective Amnesia stands on
Hey?
its own, so it's okay. Um,
Yeah. So, Sikelela says,
hello.
are you frozen?
I don't know about you
Um,
because I have all the bars. It says I'm on like 4G now, so I don't know who's lying to who. But I feel
babes,
like
I
it's
don't even know. Let's blame it on the mountains at this point. Okay, so Nomfi says, if your audio experience would expand the same way your book did in terms of being translated, would you do the translated version yourself, or would you find someone else to do it? Nope, not me. No, ma'am. No, thank you. Nope.
yeah. Wait, are you
All
still
right.
drinking? Are you still drinking?
I think we should do a virtual toast.
First of all, let me get my alcohol and my tea. I had like 3 drinks. I had a whole area set up. I was ready for you guys. Internet said no. COVID said negative. So let me get my things.
Okay, I'm gonna answer someone's question while you are away. Puleng says your stories are bold. Thank you. Cool. I think there are no more questions or comments. We are about to wrap up in 10 minutes. While Upile is away, it feels weird to be talking into the ether, but
Upile is back.
welcome back. I was just about to tell people the audio experience is out. It is here. It is just about an hour and a half or an hour and 45 minutes. All
Mm-hmm.
51 poems of Collective Amnesia are there. People can go and buy it. The link is here. I think people would be like,
I know. Oh gosh. All that it says for me is disable camera. Right where you're pointing.
really?
No, but I see Koleka Putuma slash .com/shop, ladies and gentlemen.
See?
And folks.
But yeah, I guess the purpose of this was to talk process, to announce the release of it, to see your
Mm-hmm.
face, really. I think I just wanted to see your face during the people.
No,
Um,
I mean, I when you wrote me and told me this, I was so excited. I'm so thrilled for you, and I'm so happy for everyone who's joined. This book has changed my life and so many people's lives. And obviously continues to touch people's lives. So this audio experience, I think one of the other things you're saying about storytelling, for me, it it was like one of those children's stories, but for adults, like poetry storytelling. If does it make any sense? Like what I'm trying to get
mm-hmm,
to, like somebody having someone read you a novel, and that's kind of what it felt like, rather than just performance. You know, I felt
mm-hmm.
so connected to the work, and I think everybody who goes out and buys this now, I sound like I'm on like what I'm gonna sell you shoes or something for your house right now. Go and buy it. You need this. No, we all
Is
need
this
it.
a Walmart ad?
Oh yeah. No, I moved somewhere where there's no lights. But you know
It's
what?
okay. You look great.
You mean my teeth? I don't know what you're talking about. Hi. Any more questions?
There's one more question, and I think we need to wrap up soon. Dumelo
Mhm.
says, when will you be returning to the US? When I get a US publisher. So
What does that person even mean? Because we know South Africa said we can't go there. Tumelo, we can't go to America. That's what the
but
list
you
said.
know, like the pandemic has changed so much for me. I don't feel
Mm.
there was a kind of rhythm that I was in before the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know if I'm necessarily interested in the kind of productivity or in the kind of productive machine or in the kind of like machine that I was in before. Um, I feel kind of okay to reset, to
Yeah.
be in the space that I'm in now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
to not think about what's the next thing or when I'm gonna go to the next thing or what's gonna happen or what am I put like I'm just it's oh it's okay,
No,
you
but I
know?
hear you on that. I've been telling myself and my husband, take the rest. Like this is a moment the world has said, please sit down. Like you've been doing too
Yeah,
much, sit your butt down for a moment. And if you're
yeah,
privileged enough to still have money coming in, that's great. But take the rest. Um
yeah,
and being a creative, you get it all the time, I get it all the time. We have this constant need for what's next. Also, I'm excited about the next book. Just saying.
hey,
Just saying. Just putting it out there.
listen here, wasn't it you a few months ago? The last time I saw you, you were in the middle of goishing because you were wrapping up your latest your latest book. You were literally just like, oh, I need to submit. I need to submit. Like, so I feel like you need to show me some some
Okay, I'll
love, some grace, because
show you grace. But I feel like you lied to me personally because
when is what?
when is the book? Where is the book? Where out the book?
The book is coming out early 2021.
Okay.
That's as much as I can say. Early 2021 is when the second book is coming out.
Mm.
But at the moment, this is what the people have,
But
you know?
before we wanted to ask, I about owning amnesia and how proud you
Wait,
are of
wait, wait,
this.
wait, 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 wait. You're breaking up. I think you're asking me a very important question. You have to ask me about?
I saw you tweet about owning your own work. Congratulations. That feel? What did that mean? I'm sorry. Look at you buying your masters, Miss Beyonce or whoever else bought their masters. How do you feel in that moment?
Girl, let me tell you something. Like, social media is so great at showing one aspect of a journey, right? Like, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You don't owe everyone everything. There are moments or there are parts of your journey that are for you and for the people around you, right? But the day that that became official was the day I cried my face off, because
Rightfully so.
yeah, because I think the thing that a lot of people don't know or understand is that, like Kanye went on a whole rant on Twitter a few weeks ago about his,
Mm-hmm.
musicians owning the masters of their music, and how, to own your masters means that you own what happens with your music, and there's empowerment there, right? And
Mm-hmm.
similarly with literature, with books, right? Like, to have full ownership of your work means something different, money wise, ownership wise, derivatives wise, intellectual property wise, what you get to do with that work, um, the value that you see or the return that you see, um, the middlemen that you cut out, in the
Mm-hmm.
process of you getting back the full value or the full worth of your work, right? And so I don't know what the royalty or the percentage deal is for a lot of authors, but I
Mm-hmm.
know that, and for me, mine, I mean, I think I've heard some horror stories, right? Like, my publishing relationship with Uhlanga was not horrible. It didn't end because of that. I had a pretty good working relationship with Nick and with Uhlanga, and it was amazing. It was an amazing 3.5 years, and I feel like out of most of the things that I've heard about people and their relationships with their publishers,
Mm-hmm.
mine was actually pretty great, So it wasn't that at all. But I think I'm at a point in my life where I'm in a different space about ownership. I'm in a different space about building the kind of working environments, and the kind of legacies that I've been dreaming about for a long time. So I've had these dreams of just owning all of my work, owning all of my intellectual property, um, collaborating with people who look like me, who share the
Mm-hmm.
same values as me. And
Mm-hmm.
that feels urgent to me right now, and it feels important. And I have to listen to that, and I have to honor that. And that's what it's about. And it feels amazing to be able to say, I own Collective Amnesia. I own No Easter Sunday for Queers. It's under my company. And I've also started a company that opens up a dialogue about ownership and about fairness and about creating things that belong to you, and creating things that will give you the things that you've always dreamt about,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like you're in a season of claiming everything.
Girl,
Like her book, like this is how truly inspired me because I wasn't even thinking about. I'm like, what is your value, and why aren't you getting your full, work that came from your head and your heart? So yeah, that moved me. Congratulations.
yeah. But you know what, though?
Toast. Mm-hmm.
I had to be in a space to do that for real.
Mm-hmm.
3 years ago, 2 years ago, I did not personally have the money, the
Mm-hmm.
resources, the capacity, the team to do that, right? It was only when I got a manager, that I was able, and also had this time during this pandemic to think about what it is that I wanted, that I had the time and the capacity and the resources to be able
Yes.
to move in that direction, right? So it's not to say, hey, everyone, do this or take back your rights and da-da.
Mm.
It's also about where you at, and it's taken me about 7.5 years actually, The thing that a lot of people won't know is that it's taken me 7.5 years to get to this place where I can take back the rights to my work and own it and have the capacity and the resources to do so, because, yeah, also capitalism is a thing and resources are a thing. Um, but yeah, I'm happy. I'm glad I did it. We're here now. It's not the easiest of things. It's gonna take a lot of work, but I'm happy.
Out now that you're taking care of distribution, I'm trying. I'll be like, excuse me, this book is not in my local Pick and Pay. Like, I want it everywhere. Like,
Babes, holla, holla. That's also the other thing that my manager, shout out to With Love, the agency. My manager's so amazing. We've been talking about potentially hosting other people's books on the online store in a way that doesn't bankrupt them in the distribution process of things, because so much money in the literary world or in the publishing world goes to so many parties, right? That when you're able to cut that down, it's able to benefit the author in many ways. But we are working on the machine of things. But yeah, if you want your book to go from A to Z, that's the dream, right? To be able to host other people's books on the online store and to have that process be as beneficial as possible. And
yeah, but
yeah.
that's also telling of your badassery, because me as an author would think published or published and that's it. But like self-published, or you own the rights to your own work. Thank you very much for always bringing in new things and teaching us how. A long time. Well, 7 years is
Yeah.
a while. It's one person's life, but it's enough.
We are. I think it says just comments. Lebogang says, "Is whiskey allowed? Because people seem to be sipping wine. Definitely, all
I'm
adult
sipping
beverages.
gin and tonic,
Beer,
please.
whiskey, seawater, rooibos."
See what?
Tando sends love. Pearl Pile says, "Oh, Pearl, you my fave too." Quaz sends love. Love back to you, Quaz. Dankiso says you're brilliant. Thank you, Tank. Yeah, and I think that's it, babe.
I feel like we have a radio show or a podcast.
Me and you do have a part. Listen, I see what you did there.
You know what? But this is me. Like, I turn every conversation these days to like, yeah, this is interesting. This should be a podcast. I'm like, maybe that's narcissism, like just deep somewhere within my soul, that I think what I'm talking about is so interesting that it has to be in a podcast.
You know what I walk around the house saying? Like every
Uh-huh.
time I have even just the slightest of idea, like I'll be like, you know what we should have for breakfast? Eggs. You know what? I'm a genius. I'm actually a if I just even so much as have like a brilliant idea about like what I should do that day, I'm like, wow, I'm
Wow.
brilliant. So I think you and I should have a podcast and just celebrate our geniosity.
Our
Actually,
geniosity. First of all,
yeah.
Koleka, that sounds like the vainest thing I've ever heard.
Who the fuck cares? You're a
We'll call
genius.
it,
I'm
we
a
are
genius. We're
genius.
amazing. I don't care. I don't care. We're amazing. I don't care.
No, you're
We'll
amazing.
call the pod. You're amazing, babe. We'll call the podcast something amazing.
But I mean, but you're jammed. Jammed in the perfect way, though. Like the alcohol is right by your mouth, like this.
I, I think we should wrap this up. People should go to the store, get the book, and not be subjected to our jams and
But
pauses and things.
I wanted to thank everyone for joining. Shouldn't be giving outro if we're pausing every 2 seconds.
But yeah, I think, shall we say goodbye, say goodnight? Thank you
Yes,
for,
we're gonna say goodbye. But I was gonna say one last word. Thank you
yeah,
everyone for joining us. And congratulations to Koleka. Please look at that link over there and get this, because this person is brilliant. And this audio experience will change your life the way it changed mine. I'm so glad to live to witness all your glory, all your awesomeness, all your giantry, because your work touches our souls again and again, and you keep, and I may cry. But gosh, your last words.
thank you, babe. And thank you for hosting me. I'm gonna end this live,
Anytime.
and then you and I are gonna kiki backstage. Thank you everyone for joining us. Go to the shop, get the book, spread the love. Thank you, Upile, for hosting me and for the chats. And for your patience through this new virtual, I don't know what. But yeah, thank you. Bye.